Good evening and welcome to the Sewell Road Concert Ensemble portion of this evening's concerts. My name is Anna Salem and I am the director here at Sewell Road Middle School. The first piece you heard was called Arabian Dances, and you got to hear different sections kind of competing against each other in a dance-off, more or less, before we had a big party at the end. So, hope you enjoyed that. Our next selection is going to be a lot more mellow. It's a piece called Gently Touch the Sky, and it's really challenged these students to play with lyricism and a maturity of sound that can be challenging for middle school students, but they've really risen to the occasion. So I hope you enjoy Gently Touch the Sky. Before we play our last selection before Concert Ensemble comes out, I want to take a minute and say a few thank yous. Big thank yous to our admin. Mrs. Rebecca at Sewell Road Middle School has always been so supportive of the arts, so we should appreciate everything she does. And Mr. Shatra and Ms. Valentino up here make sure that we get everything we need, from buses to music to reads to anything we could possibly need, so thank you. Huge thank you to you, the parents, as well, for getting them here tonight, for making sure they've got those reads, their music, their binders. We really appreciate it. Also want to take a moment to acknowledge some of our students who have been going above and beyond and representing Sewell Road in a very awesome way. Last weekend we had 2 students represent us at the Area All-State Festival down in Homer, New York. Those two students are Derek Drake and Ben Miles. So you guys can stand up. It's a big honor as Area All-State encompasses many counties. It's almost, I think, 4 or 5 counties, all the way from Binghamton, all the way up to Fairhaven. So it's really awesome that we have 8th graders, because usually it's reserved for 9th graders, so super proud of you guys. Coming up on December 12th and 13th, we have 12 students who will be auditioning for our All-County Festival. They have been working hard, practicing, and will continue to do so for another month, and then go and audition for a judge. So if you are auditioning for All-County, will you please rise at this moment? Thank you. We wish them the best of luck as they continue to practice. So our last piece for our portion of the concert is entitled Moscow 1941. And the piece tells the story of a lesser-known battle in World War II where Stalin and Hitler had an agreement they weren't going to attack each other. You stay away from Russia, you stay away from Germany, we're good. Except we know that those two gentlemen were not gentlemen. And so they're like, well, I want your land, you want my land. So on one evening, the Russian army found out that the Germans were only about 200 miles away and were about to take Moscow. The Russians decided they weren't going to move and that they were going to push back against the German army and keep Moscow safe for the Russians. So that's what you're going to hear in this story, is you're going to hear a battle. You're going to hear this hymn tune called Meadowlands, which is the native hymn of, one of the native hymns of Russia, that will start in the clarinets and kind of sneak throughout the low brass and into the percussion even. So hope you enjoy Moscow 1941. so much. We're going to have a quick change over to the concert ensemble.
Thank you for coming this evening to our fall concert. We are a concert ensemble. I usually don't talk between the first and second tunes on concert pitches or concert programs, but this next piece has a little bit of a special meaning for me. On October 14th, the band world lost a giant, the music education band world, I should say, Edward S. Lisk. He was my high school band director, so it probably seems self-serving that I would do a piece to honor him. But he, in addition to that, had a storied career that was world-renowned. And he was a true friend to the Liverpool band program from the 90s up until just recently, the last 5 or 6 years or so, when he kind of went into what he called retirement. He was a huge force and someone to this very day that I revere, and he brought out in children the very, very best that you could expect. Some of the best parts of what I hope that my teaching come from him. And I would like to dedicate our work, this next work, Never Forgotten, in his memory. This is a piece written by Stephen Malilo, and Stephen Malilo and Ed were extremely close friends. Stephen's much younger than Ed, and I still remember hearing from Mr. Malilo the first time he met Ed. He was at a session and had heard about Ed, but had never met him. And so he got there, and he was there early, and it was a clinic that Ed was doing. And Ed walked up to him, introduced himself, and he says, "May I ask what you're doing here?" And he says to Ed, "I'm here to learn." And this is a person who already had a very successful band directing career and huge success as a composer. It was a lifelong friendship that they developed. In fact, Stephen wrote a piece in honor of Ed's daughter, who was tragically lost in a car accident. But this piece right here that we're going to do is part of a bigger series, but it is done usually as a warm-up. But it is the piece, other than the one written for his daughter, that Ed most frequently chose to conduct at clinics, because he felt it encapsulated all of the inner beauty that we as educators strive to get from students of any ensemble at any age. And so tonight we will play Never Forgotten in honor of Mr. Lisk, and I hope that you can hear within this music and our portrayal of it just how much care that I hope that you can tell that Ed provided not only my generation, but the Liverpool program for the last 20-some years. Thank you. lots of quick thank yous, a couple of acknowledgements, and then we'll get you right on your way, folks. Again, welcome again, and thanks for coming tonight. I have thank yous, Liverpool Central School District Administration. I know several admins are here tonight. Mr. Shatroff is our Director of Fine Arts, and he is a huge force in making sure that everything happens here, and we want to thank all of the admins for that. The custodial staff for making sure the place was ready for us tonight. There are a lot of events that go on in here, a lot, and not just fine art events, so they work double time to make sure during concert season in particular, and when it's a concert night, this place is set up for a high-end experience. So thank you to them. I want to also thank the Liverpool Central School District other band directors. These people work tirelessly to get us to the point where we are up here at the high school. It's really easy for us to take all that credit, but the real workhorses are the people in that 4 to 8 program. And I want to please continue to support them. What they do is absolutely outstanding, and it makes this easier for those of us here at the high school. So thank you to them. And finally, you folks as parents. Whether you recently made the investment in your child's music education or you've been doing it all along, you have older siblings, or you yourself are an alumnus of this program or any other program, the fact that you are pushing for the arts to continue to thrive says a lot. And in a world where it's easy to put that stuff aside because it's time and it's energy and it's practice and it's this and that and the other thing, to have this is fantastic. So I thank you. We do have a couple of acknowledgments to do. This weekend will be our senior high all-county auditions, and in about 4 weeks will be our junior high all-county auditions for the group. And I would like any of the students who are auditioning in either senior high or junior high to please stand and be recognized if you're auditioning. Additionally, we had some students participate in either the junior high area all-state, which took place a couple weeks ago, or there will be participating at the beginning of February in the senior high area all-state. So those who are selected and performed with that, or will be performing with senior high area all-state, if you could please be recognized. And we have a couple of students who are also members of the symphonic band who double in this group to help me out. And some of them had been selected for the conference All-State. This is the All-State Band, Orchestra, or Jazz Ensembles. Those of you who are accepted for conference All-State will be going next month to the Eastman School of Music to perform. Please be recognized. Work this evening is a piece by Andrew Boyson. It is in your program notes. You can read about it. It are 3 folk songs that have the same motif. You're going to hear the bom, bom, bom. You're going to hear those 3 pitches throughout all 3 movements. It ties together. The last time I did this work here, I did each piece on its own concert. But this group was outstanding enough that I said we're going to do all 3 as a suite, the way it's supposed to be done, on a single concert. So we hope you enjoy 3 folk song settings for band, and then right after that we'll do a real quick tear down reset for our big combined piece, which is going to be great. So thank you again for coming, and we hope you enjoy our work. Thank you.